Hello friends, welcome to this new tutorial. This is the Samsung Galaxy S21 Plus, and the problem on it is the screen. As you see, it's broken. So in this video I will show you how to replace the screen. So to replace the screen on this phone, we will need a new screen. I have one here. Make sure you get the screen with the frame on it. The one that I get here today, it's with the silver frame, because this one is supposed to be black, and just because I couldn't find the black one, I got the silver one. And for that reason I got the back glass that is matching with the frame, because I think the black back is not gonna match here. So in this video I will show you how to replace the back glass, the battery, and the screen with the frame, and the other small components inside this phone. Alright, so let's do it. To buy the screen, you can buy it from eBay or Amazon. Make sure you are buying the correct part, and you need to check the model number of your phone before you make the order. Make sure you order the right one. So then we will need some tools. We will need a Phillips screwdriver, a nice semi, tweezers, cutter, and tweezers. Then we will need the double sticky adhesive, a glove, and a heat gun. Okay, I think that's all what we will need. If we need something during this project, I will mention it. So please watch the video from the beginning to the end to have an idea about this repair, and if I'm missing something, I will mention it during the video. Then you can decide if you have all the tools and the parts and experience to do this job. If not, you need to find a specialist who can do it for you. Alright, so let's start. The first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna heat up the back frame. We will heat up this for a couple minutes. Try to spread the heat all over the edges. Alright, so then what we're gonna do, I will just use this IC semi, and I will make a small gap here. And then we will need the plastic like this. This I forgot to mention. So we need the plastic, and we will insert it instead of this one. We're gonna continue with this plastic. Don't use the tools, especially if you are working on the metal, on the glass back covers. You need to use the plastic, not the metal. The metal definitely will break your back glass. And just slide this all around the edges like this until you release it. I'm still not sure if this is a plastic or a glass. So anyway, don't heat it up too much until you melt it if it's a plastic. This is the first time I'm doing this, by the way. That's why I'm not sure if this is a plastic or glass. I can't tell, you know. Alright, so once you release the back glass like this, you're just gonna go here, and we will release this part also. Oops. This part is not easy. You just need to go around it carefully, because the camera is there too, and if you go deep, you may scratch the camera, or you may cut a cable there or something, you know. et voila. Then this thing is released. This is the back cover. I'm still not sure this is black or, I mean, this is a plastic or glass, or even I think it's metal, I don't know. Alright, so let's put this aside. Now we have a lot of screws that we need to open. So we have some screws here in the bottom. We're gonna start with them. I'm just gonna keep working, taking off the screws just to see how long it's gonna take from me. So at the end, we will see how many minutes we need to fix this screen, you know. Okay, this is the last screw in this part here. So now I'm just gonna remove this bracket. Sometimes if you find that it's hard to remove, just make sure you don't forget any screw. So we open this. So now we're gonna remove all the screws here on the top. By the way, we have some screws, we don't need to take them off. We have these two and these two here, and maybe other two here. Oh, and those are weird screws. Okay, we'll see once we get to them. These are the screws, we can open them with the tri-point screwdriver. So this is another thing that we need. I forgot to mention this one. Then I forgot to mention, I don't know that I have to mention the tri-point screwdriver. We will get to that one and then we'll see if I have one here or not. Alright, so I said these two screws, you don't have to open them. You're just gonna open this. I think we're gonna open them later. So we have two more screws here, I mean 3 screws here. And try to remember the spots from where you take the screws off. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then we have another one here and another one here. And all screws are the same. You don't have to worry about mixing them up unless you see that there is a screw different, like the ones that I mentioned here on the top, the tri-point ones. Alright, so now what I'm gonna do, I will just lift up this bracket and remove it. This bracket is responsible for the wireless charging. Alright, so then we're gonna open the screws on this black bracket here. Still all the screws are the same except the ones that we're gonna reach to right now. Sometimes even when you open the screw, if you don't have a magnetized screwdriver, the screw not gonna stick on it. Alright, so now I open all the screws. No, I have one more left here. Sometimes make sure you open all the screws. Then now we're gonna lift up this bracket gently. If you feel like it's stuck, make sure you find out why. It may be a screw holding it somewhere. Alright, so I removed it. Okay, it stuck because this cable here needs to be disconnected. I didn't disconnect it, but it got disconnected by itself. Alright, so now let's put these things aside here. So now we're gonna disconnect the battery. That's the first thing we will disconnect. And then we're gonna disconnect all the other cables one by one. So I'm disconnecting all the cables. So the 1, 2, 3. Then this cable's here. So we have one. This is for the wireless. And this one, these cables, by the way, they have main. That means those are the ends that goes to the motherboard. And when you see sub, that's the one that goes to the bottom. Alright, so let me disconnect them all. Alright, so now what I'm gonna do, I will remove the motherboard from here, but we still have three more cables here. 1, 2, 3, and I think that's it. Let me see if I can remove the motherboard now. I'm using these tweezers and I'm going underneath the motherboard gently. Make sure don't damage anything underneath. So when I try to remove this one, I feel like it's stuck somewhere, maybe in this cable here, or maybe something else is holding it. I will see. By the way, this is the first time I'm opening this phone. Alright, I see that the motherboard stuck on the camera here. This end here, this is for the camera. So I will open this screw here and they will remove the camera. Maybe the camera gonna come off with it. So we have a screw here holding the cameras. So let me see now if I can take it off. Yes, that's right. So the camera comes off, the cameras comes off with it. So to replace the cameras here, you need to remove the motherboard, then you can disconnect the cable from here. This is the camera cable, you disconnect it, and we have another cable here. You disconnect this one, then you can remove the whole thing. So this camera here can be replaced by itself, this one, but these two, you have to replace both of them at the same time. Alright. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, I will just put this motherboard here and I will check my other screen. So this is the new screen. It's already have the front facing camera and the vibrator here, which means I don't have to open this tri-point screws. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So you need to open them with the tri-point screwdriver. And make sure you have the tri-point screwdriver, because if you try to use the Phillips screwdriver or the flathead screwdriver, you're gonna strip the screws here and you're not gonna be able to remove it. And also, if your screen doesn't come with the camera, the front facing camera, you need to use a cutter and you will cut. There is like a glue here on the sides holding this camera down, and you need to cut it to remove the front facing camera, to transfer to the new one. And make sure don't make any damage or any dent on this camera, and make sure don't cut the cable too. And you're just gonna cut the glue. It's like a rubber glue here. You're gonna cut it, then you're gonna use maybe a tweezers to get underneath and lift it up, and make sure don't damage the camera. Be careful. So since we already have the camera here, and we already have the front facing camera, and we already have the vibrator, I think we're just gonna put the motherboard here. Let me just make sure that I'm not missing anything. Okay, we have the buttons. Yes, we have everything here, and that's it. So we can put the motherboard here. And we're gonna start with the last with the last screw we take off. It was the one on the camera, this one. It will go here. As you see, I put the motherboard on top of the front facing camera cable. So you have to open this screw one more time and get the cable out. And then I will connect the front facing camera cable, and then this button here. I think there is another cable somewhere here. Let me find out. Alright, so don't forget any cables underneath the motherboard. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't forget anything. I think there is something here. Okay, so no, nothing. Alright, so I will connect this cable here. When you are connecting the cables, make sure they are 100% matching. Alright, so I connect this cable, then I will connect this one. Then I forgot to put this screw here on the camera. Alright, so now what we're gonna do, I will remove this bracket from here. it has one cable, and I remove this one from here. So it has two screws on it. This is one, and this is two. Then I will just pull this one gently. I'm pulling from the cable, but I'm just making sure I'm not cutting the cable, okay? It has a little bit of the adhesive underneath, so we're just gonna put it here, and that's it. Let's put these two screws back. Alright, so we're gonna do the same thing for the other part here. Then we will just pull it gently out from here. This little cable here has a connection. It can be disconnected from here, and you can reconnect it in case it got disconnected. And then we're gonna put this one here, and we'll put the screws. All right, so now we're gonna transfer the charging port to here. So the charging port has 1, 2, 3 screws. Make sure you remember the spots for the screws, because we have many other spots here. So we have one here, and one here. So this is the way how to change the charging port on this phone. Replacing the screen on this phone with the frame, it will teach you many things. It will teach you how to replace the charging port, how to replace the battery, how to replace the cameras. So I left up this part here, and it looks like it's stuck inside. So what I'm gonna do, I will just grab it and pull it gently. Okay, so what happened, I forgot to remove the same tray from here. So this is one of the things that you need to pay attention to, and that's why I want you to watch the video from the beginning to the end, because we cannot say everything. So this is the same tray. Now I can remove this part easy. And if you find like that something is not easy, just try to find a way, because sometimes you may just forget something there. So I put the charging port first like this, then I will let it sit flat here. If you feel like it's not matching, you need just to align it. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I will put the 3 screws back. We have one here and one here, and the third one right here. Alright, so the last thing left here is the battery. So we're gonna use this IC Sammy, and they will see if I can go underneath the battery. Sometimes when you just pull it like this, you may lift it up, but sometimes you may need to use the double sticky adhesive, I mean the alcohol, to loosen the double sticky adhesive underneath. Simply we need to use this spudger. Make sure don't cut the battery, don't poke it or scratch it. I'm just pulling gently, don't bend the battery too. Don't bend it. You see how I removed it? And then we have here the adhesive that is holding it, but we see some wrinkles here. So these wrinkles are easy to get rid of. You just need like a Sharpie. Let me see. I have this Sharpie here. And you're just gonna pass it on top of these wrinkles to flatten them. And that's it. It's flat now. So what I'm gonna do now, I will put the battery inside here. I'm supposed to put the adhesive here, strips of adhesive, but because the adhesive here is still good, we're just gonna put the battery inside like this, and that's it. And it will hold. So now what I need to do, I need to connect this cable, the battery cable, make sure it's matching. So it's matching good. So I'm just making sure, you know, the battery cable will be the last thing that we're gonna connect. So now I'm connecting this cable here, then this cable here, and the rest of the cables. We have this cable is coming from the screen. This cable is very important. Make sure you are connecting it correctly, because this is the screen cable and this is the main one. You know, if you damage this screen or this cable, I mean the connection, you're gonna be like in trouble. So this one, the main, always on the motherboard, and the bottom one is the sub on the charging port. Then the same thing with this other cable here, main to the motherboard, and the sub to the charging port. Okay, so now I'm gonna put this SIM card back. By the way, the SIM card is supposed to be white, supposed to be silver, but because I'm using different color, it will be black, as you see, but the color doesn't matter. Alright, so now what I'm gonna do, I will put this bracket here. This bracket will be here. It has this cable, I need to connect it. It's connected now. And make sure this bracket is all the way pushing up. Don't leave any gap here. Alright, so now I'm gonna put the screws. Okay, this is the last screw on this bracket. Alright, so now what I'm gonna do, I will put this bracket here. Alright, so now it's time to connect the battery first. This is the battery cable, I'll connect it. The battery cable is connected now. So then we have two cables. We have this cable here and this cable. They need to be matching with their connection. I connect this cable here, then this one, then I will put the screws. So we have one here and another one here. Number 3 and number 4, then number 5 right here. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the bottom part where the charging port is, and we're gonna connect, make sure this things is all fit perfectly here, then we can put the screws. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Alright, so I put all the screws. Now what you can do, I will turn on the screen. Just push the power button here and make sure that the screen is working. The battery has 0%, if you see it. So we're not going to be able to test it, so I'm just going to go ahead and put the back frame here. So this is the back frame that I have. This back frame comes with its own adhesive on it, so we don't need the double sticky adhesive. But sometimes if you damage the adhesive underneath the battery, you need to put some strips, 2 strips to hold the battery to not keep moving. And also you need to put the adhesive around the edges here to hold this, but since this already comes with its own adhesive, we don't need this one. So what I'm gonna do now, I will just use a spatula and I will pass it on top of this adhesive here and make sure it sticks very well before I remove the plastic. Because this adhesive, it's not sticking very well here, so I need to make sure I pass this around it or on top of it until I make sure it sticks very well. Alright, so now I can remove the plastic that is covering the adhesive. Because if you don't do so, if you don't use this spatula and glue this, pass it on top of the adhesive, it's not gonna stick very well. And when you remove this plastic, it will come off with it. Alright, so now what I'm gonna do, I will make sure that I don't miss anything here. As you see here, we have this metallic bracket. I need to transfer it back to here. So I will just use this IC semi and I will see if I can go underneath. No, I cannot, so I need to heat it up a little bit. So I'm just gonna use the heat gun. Alright, so now I will use this IC semi. I don't know what is the role of this metallic bracket here. Okay, but it's here because if you want to replace the thing completely, the glass, the camera lenses, it will come with it. Alright, so I removed it. Then I will just align it here. Okay, and then we have this last thing. This is the flashlight. We just need to lift it up gently. Make sure don't damage this bracket here. This is just the flashlight bracket, and it has microphone hole here. Then this will just go here, and that's it. So now we can glue this here. And before we do that, we need to remove this plastic, which is just for the warranty. We're just gonna glue this like this. And that's it. So that's as you see, so we have now the Galaxy S21 Plus, and that's how to replace the screen. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you learned something from me. If you do, please hit the thumbs up, share this video with your friends, and subscribe if you are not subscribed. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment area, and I will make sure I answer your question as much as I can. And see you in the next video, and have a wonderful time. Peace.